Hi there, it's Q&A with Stan. Today's question is, how does the Annuity Man look at carrier risk? I know what you're saying, Stan. That shirt's pretty risky. It's a tie-dye shirt. We're a little forward-thinking, right, Zeke? Zeke's behind the camera. We look at carrier risk a little bit differently than most. Now, obviously, we look at the rating services, AM Best, Moody's, Standard & Poor's, and Fitch. AM Best is what you'll see on our site, but we go deeper than that. Obviously, we're going to look under the hood financially and look at their financials. I can do that. I know you're saying, Stan, you look pretty goofy. But yes, I can do that. I used to work with Morgan Stanley, Union Bank of Switzerland, Dean Witter, Payne Weber, all that stuff for a long, long time. So I understand what to look at. So I look at that. And then I think the more important thing is we look at carrier risk from the standpoint of, can they get the application done quickly? Are they easy to work with my team? Now, when you go through the application process with us, it's us taking those bullets. We're dealing with the carrier. We're just updating you on the process. But part of that risk mitigation that I'm always looking at is obviously ratings, obviously financial, but a big part of it, can they push the paper? Are they easy to work with? Are we on hold for an hour? We look at that. Recently, I'll give you a good story. Recently, there was a really highly rated carrier. I'm not going to name them. They had great contractual guarantees, but they were so hard to work with, and they were so anti-consumer, and we're pro-consumer if there ever is a company, that we decided to not recommend them anymore. Their financials were fantastic. Their ratings were fantastic. But the third thing, which is working with us, which is in essence working with you, because we do all of that for you, it wasn't a pleasant experience for anybody. And so we made the decision that we're no longer going to recommend them. We get calls all the time. Hey, we see all these carriers on the site, and they'll ask about it, and we'll say, well, right now we're not recommending them. Now, hopefully this carrier that I mentioned will get their stuff together, hire more people, train them better, and be better to work with and easier to work with. And we'll assess that at that point in time. But we're looking at a lot more than just the ratings. Okay, a lot more than that. I'm actually personally looking at the financials. I have another couple of friends that are kind of retired gurus from the stock market world, and they help me as well look at things. But understand the annuity industry is very heavily regulated. There's not a lot of shenanigans going on out there. Sometimes it happens, and the annuity industry as an industry steps up and backs things up. There are state guarantee funds and what I call the annuity mafia, which is the big companies making sure the small companies don't mess things up. But from a risk mitigation standpoint, I'm taking a very close look. At the time of this taping, there's two types of recommendations. If it's lifetime income, we're typically looking at A+ or better. We're going to marry that carrier. So we're going to marry them for life. So we're looking A+ or better for lifetime income. If we're looking at MIGAs like fixed rates, we're going to date them, right? We're going to date them for a specific period of time. And I'm going to make that call and tell my team what we're going to recommend based upon what I've done from the standpoint of looking at the financials and all of that. And then my team then comes back to me on their side and tells me about how it is to work with a company. We do this all the time. We're always evaluating that, and we do make some tough calls, and carriers get upset when we take them out of our selling process or our recommendation process because everybody wants the annuity man in the party, right? But they have to earn that. They have to prove to us they're pro-customer. So that's part of how we do risk mitigation at the Annuity Man.